everybody. How you doing? Welcome to Shadow at Night. This is Wednesday, October the 23rd, 2024. And I have to tell you that I was very excited when I woke up this morning regarding the... I can't even believe I'm saying this, because myself as a younger man, if I'd seen myself today when I was like 30, I'd go, dude, what is the matter with you? Now you're waking up excited because of some liberal caucus meeting? Politics? Are you kidding? It's true. I was giddy almost this morning. I bumped into my buddy Mike McComb from Warren Star Media. By the way, if you're looking for somebody to do photos for your wedding or bar mitzvah or big event, and maybe you need some photos taken from above, he also handles drone photography. Get a hold of Mike at Warren Star Media. Anyway, he said he felt the same thing today. Oh, so very excited, and then such a big letdown when nothing really happened. But that's not the case at all. Things did happen today. It's just going to take a little bit longer than we anticipated. I mean, let's be honest. There's no way that anybody would have thought that Justin Trudeau's last day as prime minister of this great country was going to be today. He's going to go out kicking and screaming. He's going to ruin as much of our country as he possibly can before he takes that long walk in the snow, as his father said many, many years ago. So we're going to cover that whole thing today. That happened today or didn't happen today, however you want to look at that, in just a couple of seconds. Also, there is apparently an October surprise coming for one Donald J. Trump to screw up his chances of winning the presidency in 2 weeks' time. 2 weeks from yesterday is when the election happened. So, yeah, all that is coming up in just a second. The Shadow at Night live stream is brought to you by Canada Nano Silver. We're going to get to that in just a second. Hello, everybody watching on Facebook and YouTube and Twitch and X and Rumble and Telegram, and of course, the website, shadowdavis.com. If you would like to, and this is something I've been meaning to talk to you guys about for quite some time, and I always forget because there's so much to cover, but I would really appreciate it if you decided to become a member of the website. You get all the extra content there. There's going to be some very special interviews coming your way, and only you guys, the all access members, will have access to the entirety of those interviews coming up very soon on shadowdavis.com. So please go sign up for a monthly membership. It's like 11 or 12 bucks a month. You can't even go to Tim Hortons or McDonald's for that anymore. I mean, seriously, what can you get for $11 or $12 these days? And you sit and think about it. Like, really? Yeah. So help a guy out. It really helps the show. And I would like to thank you in advance for signing up for the monthly or the year-long membership at shadowdavis.com. You get all the extra content coming soon. Some very, very interesting, important, and deep diving interviews. I do have 2 or 3 of them lined up already for the next couple of weeks. Also, this coming weekend, we're going to give you the details on the Winnipeg Metropolitan Region Plan 2050 at Kingswood Golf and Country Club in LaSalle, Saturday afternoon between 1 and 4 o'clock. So if you want to know all of the details, and I suggest if you're planning to come to this event, bring your kids with you. Your grown children, your adult kids, bring them with you because they need to hear this too. If they own property in the Winnipeg area, the Winnipeg Metropolitan Region area, they're going to need to hear exactly what these people have got planned and exactly who these people are to begin with. There's so many people out there that have no concept of who these people are, how they got to where they are, and what it is exactly they're trying to do. And by the way, these plans are being rolled out not just in Winnipeg, all over the country. It is ICLEI. It is the Partners for Climate Protection. This is what Maggie Hope Braun talks a lot about on her KICLEI website. So go and check that out when you get the opportunity because she knows her stuff. So anyway, we'll see you in LaSalle this weekend. You can get more information on the Manitoba Stronger Together.ca website. That's Ken Drysdale's thing. Hello, Patricia. Hello, Lulu and Daniel and Anna watching tonight. Tammy is watching from just south of Roblin, Manitoba. Hello, Angela, watching in TO, the Big Smoke, the 6. Lise is watching tonight in Strathmore, Alberta. Hello, Russ in Winnipeg. Brenda's watching. What does Brenda say? Hi from Portage, but why LOL? You never queso no more posts. I really don't know what you're trying to say there. Jeff Stone Hey, buddy, how you doing? Jeff is watching the show tonight. Of course, Jeff with Tacit Investigations and Security. Vern is watching in Kelvington, Saskatchewan. Dorothy in Fernridge, BC. Sashida, Ellen, Tony in Calgary. Diane's watching tonight from Regina. Wherever you guys are watching this show from, on whatever platform, please get it out there with a like and a share. Let's get as many eyes and ears on this as we possibly can. Before we get to the Trudeau stuff today, the Liberal caucus meeting and all of that, I want to play a video that came out after the show went off the air last night. I think all of the alternative media in the country was sharing this, and it's gone viral. Mr. Freedom, or the best damn roofer, or whatever name he happens to identify with today, was at a Catholic school board meeting. I'm not sure if it was yesterday, maybe it was the day before. And he walked in and started raising hell. And here is video of that right now.
I'll be ashamed of yourself, everybody. Sorry to interrupt your meeting, but if I can't be here to let you know what you're all doing, you're all going to hell. Every one, last of you are going to hell. Ignorant sons of bitches. There you go. What you guys are doing to our community and our churches and our families, you should be ashamed of yourselves.
I quit for this reason. You have no idea what the colors stand for. If only you knew. If only you knew, you would be standing on the same side of history. If only you knew. I speak from the heart. I speak from the heart because I love children, and I had to quit what I love doing because of this nonsense. Because it's not about the kids. It's about this. And this is all you want. Because you're getting orders from the top. You don't know the Bible. I'll challenge you any day. Let's go right now. You show me in the Bible, in Scripture, where it says that the pride flag, the trans colors, are God approved.
Yeah! Amen. You evil son of a bitch. I see it in your eye.
I promise has 7 colors in the rainbow, not 6. And it's been indigo has been removed.
It says pride is a sin.
That's okay.
Pride is a sin.
It's okay. It's all going to
Josh,
come all of you.
pride is a sin.
It is a sin.
I love God.
Yeah, to be proud is a sin.
You could have just let me videotape, but instead you want me to speak, so I did. Shame on every one of you. Shame on 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 you.
Don't touch him.
Yeah, don't touch me.
Friends.
All right. I'm out of here. Mr. Freedom said his
Pride
words.
is a sin.
All right. Sorry, Sean.
Stand with me today. I don't have children, but I will speak up for every single one of them.
She was a teacher at the Catholic school board, Patty. She's a saint. I gotta go. All right. God bless you.
So I'm going to need your thoughts on this. In the comments, please go ahead on Rumble. Hello, Rumble. How you doing? Are we on Rumble tonight? Yes, we are. Hello, Rumble. How you guys doing? Nice to have you here as well. Don't forget to like and share. Get it out there. As many people as you possibly can. All right. I need your comments on that because I'm of two minds on it. The first one is I absolutely approve of people crashing especially a Catholic school board. Catholic. We're going to get into the Catholics a little bit later on tonight on the extension for the All Access members on shadowdavis.com. Mel Gibson has a thing or two to say about that stuff. Gray Pope, Black Pope, White Pope. All very interesting stuff. But at a Catholic school board meeting, there should be no, at least you'd think there should be no discussion at all of any of this LGBTQIA or EI or EIEIO plus stuff at all, because it's a Catholic school board. And yet there they are having to confront these school board members for probably pornography, those books, the books we've been talking about in the libraries and in the curriculums. However, the approach was probably a little bit over the top. As I've been saying, you don't want to come off like a raving, screeching lunatic, because it makes it so easy for these people who are sitting there, just kind of looking at you, melt down. And it makes us look like, well, nuts. I mean, there's no other way to really describe it. And Further, if you can imagine it from their point of view, because they think they're on the right track. They think they're doing something good for people. They think they're being inclusive in society. They've been brainwashed. Let's not forget that. But I do believe that there is some semblance of normalcy still remaining in them. So I think they're probably at war with themselves quite a bit. But anyway, if they're looking at a meltdown like that through their indoctrinated lens, the first thing they're going to do is, yeah, we want this video out there too, because look at her. And in that moment, when you're melting down like that and you're screeching and hollering because you're so emotional, I totally understand that. People are going to snap every now and again. We've been under a lot of pressure for these past 4 years. You're pretty much giving up everything that you were. It's the story of Bob the Bridge Builder. And if you don't know that story, just ask one of your older male relatives and he will tell you. You do one thing that could be looked upon as kind of, and everything you've ever accomplished in your entire life goes out the window. So yes, I applaud the crashing of these ridiculous school board meetings, especially Catholic school board meetings like they have in Ontario. But we need to remain calm and focused and deliver our message in the most articulate way we possibly can. Because if we don't, we're not going to win. Dan says, Shadow, in my opinion, the Catholic branch are the best money laundering hypocrites on earth. Yeah, well, do you remember about 20 years ago when Da Vinci Code came out, the book, and then the movie with Tom Hanks and all of that? And the Catholics, some of the Catholics, not all the Catholics, got so upset. There's absolutely no way any of this is true, and you guys are blaspheming. Blaspheme. Now, you could say maybe, depending on how you look at it. Again, everybody's got their own perspective. But why did they get so upset about a work of fiction? Because that's all that was. I forget the name of the author of that book. Now, Dan something, isn't it? But it was based upon the fact that we've been told a lie about Jesus Christ for the past 2,000 years, and they were trying to uncover it through the Holy Grail and Opus Dei and the Jesuits and all of that stuff. We're going to get into that tonight, at least a little bit, on the extension on shadowdavis.com. I do have a few things that I have been made privy to that I'm going to share with you there after 9 o'clock Central tonight, and only on the website, shadowdavis.com. Yesterday, we played you a video of Michelle Ferrari. She's the Conservative MP for Peterborough-Kawartha. And she was talking about how Trudeau's gun lobby or gun control laws have done nothing to stop the guns on the streets of Toronto. And an MP got up, I think it was her even. No, it was Raquel Dancho. We're going to play you the video in just a second. Raquel Dancho of Kildonan, the riding of Kildonan in Winnipeg. She got up and said how the police association, the union of police officers in Toronto, said, Mr. Trudeau, your gun control laws have done absolutely nothing to get guns off the street in Toronto. And then she talked about, Ferrari did, this Liberal MP who got up and said, now they're quoting the gun lobby. The gun lobby. Well, that MP was Jennifer O'Connell, probably the most hated MP by her own party and all the other parties in the entire House of Commons. And here is that exchange from yesterday.
NDP Liberals, taxes are up, costs are up, crime's up, and time's up. The Toronto police are on the front lines of gun violence in Canada. One of their officers was recently shot by a repeat violent offender. And yet, shockingly, yesterday, the Liberal Prime Minister took some deranged victory lap on social media for his attack on licensed, trained, and police-vetted sports shooters. And let's remember that after 9 years of Liberals, gun violence in Canada is up 116%. Their approach has categorically failed, Mr. Speaker. When will they finally get tough on the criminals responsible for gun violence?
Mr. Speaker, it's a shame to see once again Conservatives using the talking points of the gun lobby instead of standing up for victims of crime and standing up to get guns off our streets. Mr. Speaker, we also know that women are disproportionately affected by gun violence, and what do Conservatives do? They want more guns on our streets. They cut funds from CBSA to stop the import of illegal guns and then stand in this place acting as if they support victims of crime. Mr. Speaker, it's a shame. We have committed to get guns off our street while Conservatives work for the gun lobby.
In the words of the Toronto Toronto Police Association to this Liberal Prime Minister, quote, criminals did not get your message. Our communities are experiencing a 45% increase in shootings, a 62% increase in gun-related homicides compared to the last year. What difference does your handgun ban make when 85% of guns seized by our members can be sourced to the United States? Your statement is out of touch and offensive to victims of crime and police officers everywhere. Whatever you think you've done to improve community safety has not worked. When will the Liberals call an election so we can finally bring an end to the crime and chaos they created in our streets?
Mr. Speaker, once again, let's talk about conservative logic. They think putting more guns on our street is going to somehow keep our communities safer. We know that that doesn't work. Their cuts to CBSA to allow the import of illegal guns is something that we have had to clean up. Conservatives care only about the gun lobby and not about Canadians. Mr. Speaker, we have put in place
Why are all these liberals so shrill? The liberal women, they seem so shrill. And the conservative women seem together. Yeah, they can get loud, but they seem together and confident. And these liberal, why? Why is that? Shadow at Night live stream is brought to you by Canada Nano Silver, CanadaNanoSilver.com. There's the immune gummies, my friends. Of all the fantastic products on this website, as you know, these are my favorites. I ran out. I got sick. I need more. I'm going to have to make an order. Kev, Anna? Simplify your daily immune support with convenient and delicious Nano Silver Immune Gummies. Each serving contains powerful triple action Nano Silver, silverceutical technology, elderberry, vitamin C, zinc, vitamin D3. This will help supercharge your immune system. Safe and proven Nano Silver works alongside your body's own immune system to help you stay healthy and strong for everything. Yeah, that life throws at you. And they taste like berry lemonade. They're really good. You want to keep them out of the reach of the kids because the kids will eat them all in one sitting and then you'll have to get more. It's not going to do anything bad to them except, give them a lot of vitamins. Right? And people ask too, well, this silver, does it stay in your body? Does it turn you blue after prolonged exposure? Old school silver, colloidal silver did that because it came in big blobs, relatively speaking, kind of like the difference in size between bacteria and a virus. Well, this nano silver is nano silver. Well, it just washes right out of your system after doing its good work. You can read all about it on the website, CanadaNanoSilver.com. They're going to be at the Saskatchewan Health Expo this coming weekend. And I'll tell you more about that tomorrow. CanadaNanoSilver.com. They have a promo code and everything that you can get to get free tickets for the Saskatoon Health Expo happening this weekend. Canada Nano Silver, Kevin and Anna are going to be there Saturday between noon and 6 o'clock, and then Sunday between noon and 5 o'clock. If you're looking for a retail location for these awesome products, there are over 30 across the country you can find on the retail locations tab. And if you would like to become a retailer of these awesome products, get a hold of Kevin and Anna through the contact tab at CanadaNanoSilver.com. Okay, so from the CBC, they were broadcasting live today as their reporters. I think there was 12 of them waiting outside the caucus door. Caucus meeting went on for 3 hours or something crazy. Usually it only goes on for about an hour, but today it went on for 3 hours because apparently everybody got their say. Something like 50 people got up to the microphone. 50 Liberal MPs got up to the microphone to voice their concerns, not necessarily about Trudeau, just about the state of the party. It's horribly divided right now. But I thought it was funny because they were trying to fill time, and there's nobody on that network who's talented enough to be able to pull that off for any length of time. Anyway, some Liberal MPs issue a deadline to Trudeau. Make up your mind to stay or go by October 28th. So yes, it's an ultimatum, my friends. And there we were thinking nothing happened today. Now, apparently there are 24 members of this rebel caucus. Don't forget to like and share, get this out there to as many people as possible. Thank you very much on whatever platform you're watching on, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Twitch or X or Rumble or Telegram. We're broadcasting live on Telegram every night, weeknight, starting at 8 o'clock Central. And of course, the entire show can be seen, the extension and everything. If you're a all access member, it's shadowdavis.com. Some Liberal MPs issued a deadline to Trudeau today. Decide in the next few days if you want to stay on as leader or face some unspecified consequences. Well, he has said he's staying. So basically, what this ultimatum should say is leave by October 28th or face some unspecified consequences, right? It's not a decision. Well, that's what we said about the vaccines, isn't it? You had a choice. You had a choice. You had a choice to get the vaccine and keep your house or not get it and lose your house and your job and everything else. Well, that's the same kind of choice Trudeau's facing right now. I think it looks good on him because of his ego. This is probably just as devastating to him as that choice, that vaccine choice was to us. For weeks, anti-Trudeau, so now they're anti-Trudeau MPs. We're anti-vaxxers, they're anti-Trudeau MPs. They're trying to label them. As a matter of fact, I heard earlier today, and I think it was on the CBC too, they're trying to label this group, this dissident group of Liberal MPs as angry old white men. Yeah, it's true. Anyway, let's get back to the story. For weeks, anti-Trudeau MPs have been meeting in secret to convince caucus members to band together to push him out of the top job to save the party from electoral ruin. After 9 years in government, Trudeau's popularity has plummeted. The CBC poll tracker shows Conservatives have a 19-point lead over the governing Liberals, a margin that suggests dozens of Liberals, over 100 apparently, could be out of a job after the next election. In that context, some 24 Liberal MPs have signed a document calling on Trudeau to go. 24. I wish that number was higher. We're going to do some math in the next couple of minutes here to see if we've got the numbers in different scenarios, of course, because there are different scenarios in play here. Sources said MP Patrick Weiler, kind of like the Stone Temple Pilots guy, Weiland, I don't know, read a letter to Trudeau today during the party's caucus meeting on Parliament Hill, laying out the arguments in favor of the Prime Minister resigning now. That letter included a demand Trudeau should make a choice about his future before the 28th. What's the 28th? Going to be next Monday? Holy crap, that doesn't give him much time. When they left that caucus meeting today, all of the MPs need to reflect and absorb what was said today and think hard and then get together again next week and talk about it. But Trudeau, you've got until Monday to make up your mind. About 20 MPs, none of them cabinet ministers, also stood up in the Liberal caucus meeting to urge Trudeau to rethink his pledge to stay on as leader into the next election, sources told CBC News. I didn't think they'd put an ultimatum on the table that shows they have a great deal of resolve here that was unanticipated, one MP said. Wasn't that interesting? They were blowing these people off until they weren't. They put an ultimatum out. Sources said Trudeau, now this is actually, you guys might laugh or you might actually feel something for the man here. I doubt if you will. Sources said Trudeau looked uncomfortable at times as MPs questioned his leadership. The Prime Minister also got emotional at one point as he told MPs about the toll his long political career has taken on his 3 children, sources said. Well, my initial answer, my first thought when I saw that line earlier today, when this story came out, was, well, if that's the case, Justin, and you do love your kids, I hope, and your job has taken an amazing, stressful, emotional toll on them, then just quit. You see, here's the problem for Justin Trudeau. Once he quits as Prime Minister, once he steps down, it's over. It's game over. What else has he got to do with his life? He's only 50 or 51. He's still got a few years left in front of him. What's he going to do? Some say, well, he's going to go work for the World Economic Forum, and that may be true. Maybe he's going to be an ambassador. Maybe they'll make him an ambassador to Greenland or something, I hope. Some faraway cold destination where he has to live for 6. That would be great. He could turn it down, of course. Or maybe he'll just go back to acting or drama teaching or whatever he was doing before. I don't know. I don't care. But for him, this is a big thing. He was number one, man, for the last 9 years in Canada. Plus, let's not forget that once he steps out of that job, he no longer has the protections of the office. And he did a lot of hinky crap while in that office that he can be called on. Remember, whenever a former prime minister is questioned for scandals that happened while he was in power, it always happens after they're out of office, when they no longer have these protections and they can't rain any retribution down on the people who are making the accusations. When Trudeau emerged from the meeting, his only comment to reporters was that the Liberal Party is strong and united. As a matter of fact, here are his comments from question period today.
Liberal Party, as is the Liberal government, totally united on holding the Conservative Party to account for the fact that they want to cut programs, cut services, cut initiatives that will help Canadians.
Strong and united, hey? Here's more of the tete-a-tete between Trudeau and Pierre Poilievre. Courtesy of Toronto Sun.
After 9 years of this NDP Liberal Prime Minister, costs up, taxes up, crimes up, and according to 24 Liberal MPs, time is up. This Prime Minister has doubled housing costs, doubled the national debt, given us the worst economy in the G7. He's paralyzed Parliament with a cover-up of corruption, and 2 million people are lined up at food banks, but he cannot fix what he broke because his caucus is revolting. Will he call a carbon tax election today?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker, while the Leader of the Opposition is focused on politics, we're focused on delivering for Canadians the things that matter most, whether it's more money in their pockets with the Canada Carbon Rebate, more places at $10 a day childcare right across the country, dental care for seniors and more Canadians of all ages as we move forward to deliver things that are easing pressures on the pocketbooks and building a strong economy for everyone. This is the work that we're doing, that we will continue to do, while the Leader of the Opposition tosses.
I'm sorry, but I have to point this out every time I watch this. Sometimes people in the background, you don't notice them too much, and I'm like that as well, except when I don't. And I'm looking behind them, and I'm seeing this incredibly sorry-looking group of people. Like, look at them. None of them look at all happy to be there. They all look like they've been through the mill. And I guess to some extent today, they have been through the mill, because question period started after the caucus meeting ended. So yeah, there was a lot for them to absorb today, and none of them, except for maybe this one here, the one in the pink top, look even remotely happy to be there.
Around empty slogans and place politics, we'll stay focused on the things that matter to Canadians.
That's right.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
24 Liberal MPs went to his caucus today to tell him that he's not worth the crime, cost, or corruption. They wanted to tell him that he's doubled housing costs, doubled the national debt, sent 2 million people to the food banks, but he wouldn't let them. He silenced half of the dissidents. In fact, some were intimidated so much so that even Rosemary Barton, the Prime Minister's favorite journalist, said people don't have phones in the room, and some people are going to the bathroom texting us. Mr. Speaker, will the Prime Minister text those dissident Liberal MPs, tell them to come out of the bathroom and tell the whole world that he's not worth the cost?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, in our caucus, people have always been free to speak their mind and have different perspectives. What is interesting, Mr. Speaker, is nobody in the Conservative caucus seems to have spoken out when one of their members got an all-expenses-paid trip to an extreme anti-abortion church in Florida. No.
Okay, so now he's going to start throwing barbs from the past, extreme anti-abortion church. Yeah, because we don't think abortion is cool. And he's also going to mention Christine Anderson here without mentioning her name.
Spoke out. Well, one of the members on their front bench went and dined with white nationalists, far-right German nationalists.
Did Trudeau forget that he brought an actual Nazi, an actual one, into Parliament not so long ago, blamed the Speaker of the House, the then Speaker of the House, Anthony Rota, and then made Rota take the blame for something that came from the PMO? I wonder if Anthony Rota is one of these 20 or 30 MPs who are disgruntled, because now he sits as just an MP. He's no longer the Speaker of the House. And if I were him, this would be a great opportunity for revenge.
Nobody refuses to get a security clearance so he can deal with foreign interference.
Yeah, so here we go with the foreign interference thing again. So what happens now? What is the next step? Well, we already told you about one deadline, and that deadline is Monday. These dissident liberals, numbering 24, or maybe more, maybe less, we don't know exactly. That just seems to be the number that all of the left-wing corporate media have agreed upon. So let's just say 24 for now. 24 dissident liberal members have given Trudeau until Monday to step down, or else what? Well, we heard one of these liberal MPs on a late night news show last night, and I think Northern, what's the name of that show on YouTube? I like them. That couple. Northern Exposure, I keep wanting to say. Northern, can you guys write it down in the comments, please? I forget the name of the show, and I like it, and I want to give them a plug here, but I can't remember the name of the show. No, I don't think they crossed the floor, Michael. I don't think the Conservatives would have them. What's the name of that show? Northern something. We're going to get it. Northern Perspective. Yes, thank you, Barb. I like those two. They're good. So they had it on late last night where the Liberals, one of the Liberals was talking about maybe what happens in the next non-confidence vote. I don't know. Now, he didn't say he would vote against the government, but he brought it up. He brought it up in the first place. I thought that was very interesting. So let's go to this little editorial piece in the Toronto Sun by Brian Lilly. This came out yesterday, but there's one particular line in this that you're going to need to hear because he's plugged in more so than I am to the Ottawa political bubble. Desperate Trudeau looking to prorogue as MPs demand he resign? ? So is he? The many faces of Justin Trudeau. So I have to laugh. This guy, he is such an embarrassment. Is true. I think he's going to prorogue. Didn't I say that yesterday? I'm going to stick by that. Gives him time. Is Trudeau getting set to prorogue Parliament tomorrow? Tomorrow? Will he be making a major policy announcement? Well, we found out today interest rates have been cut today, and they're taking measures to reduce immigration. That was announced today as well. And you know the only reason for that is because Trudeau's feeling the heat from his own caucus, right? Plus, I do believe that he has a hand in what the Bank of Canada does. He's not supposed to, but I think he does because he appointed Tiff Macklem as the chairman of the Bank of Canada. So I think he says, hey, you know what? I need a break with the interest rates here, Tiff. Can you do me a solid? We'll lower them for you, Justin. No worries there. Now, again, I'm only speculating on that. I can't say that for sure, but I think that because Trudeau's got, his fingers all over every facet of our country, government and non-governmental agencies. Anyway, Lilly goes on to say here, perhaps it will be both. Speculation of prorogation ramped up in Ottawa again Tuesday, just ahead of Trudeau facing a caucus meeting where blah, 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 blah. Now, this is the part that I want you guys to hear. Ministers' offices have been told that Thursday, tomorrow, is a blackout day for announcements, except those coming from the center, which means Trudeau's office. The center is what they call it. That sparked speculation that Trudeau could do something dramatic, such as cutting immigration rates dramatically. He did that today. Or even shut down the sitting of the Commons to avoid further drama. So tomorrow is a blackout day. Nobody is allowed to talk to media except for Trudeau. On Tuesday morning, ahead of a cabinet meeting, Trudeau's ministers stopped by one to express strong support. We played you video of that last night. So there's another deadline in play here. There's not just this one deadline that was issued by the dissident liberal white men MPs today. There is another deadline that people have forgotten about, and that deadline came from Yves-François Blanchet, the leader of the Bloc Québécois, about a month ago. Here he is now reiterating his demands that unless the Liberals meet his requests for, bringing up old age security, then he's going to call a vote of not confidence. Listen to him.
Is there any flexibility, Monsieur Blanchet, with your October 29th deadline? Have you seen any movement from the Liberals to accommodate what you're asking for?
If 5 weeks have not been long enough at the end of the exercise, it's the proof in itself that we were quite open-minded and that any longer time would have been useless. And we had to keep open a window during which the government might actually fall. So we're not inflexible. We've been open enough.
You're not giving them any more chances.
No, I'm not.
Okay, so his deadline is Tuesday. The Liberal dissident deadline is on Monday. So there is some stuff that's going to happen. People, like I said, are so disappointed, including myself today, when it didn't seem like anything was happening. We just have to be a little bit more patient, like we're kids on Christmas Eve. I think you know what? I know, as well as you know, as well as we all know, that Trudeau leaving doesn't solve any of our problems. But it's going to make us feel so damn good. I think the day that it happens, however it happens, we should have parties, man. We should go out and take the day off work tomorrow, whatever, and just go out and get lit. Take a cab home. We should get fireworks. We should all chip in and have fireworks in every province of the country. Massive fireworks display. Trudeau's gone, baby. So what if there is a vote of non-confidence next week? So my scenario is this one. The Liberal dissidents, numbering 24, decide to abstain in the vote of confidence. So they don't vote with the government. They also don't vote against the government. They just don't vote. They say, I'm sorry, but I'm not voting. So that drops the Liberal number from 153 to 129. But let's just say in that scenario, the NDP decide, well, we got to keep this government afloat. We're not ready for an election yet. We haven't got any money. Besides, we've still got some policies we want to get through, push through this Trudeau government before they crumble. Now, I think any realistic brain would go, that's never going to happen. But Jagmeet Singh, right? So let's just say the NDP goes ahead and votes with what's left of the Liberal Party. That brings them back up to 154. So they have 154. 154. The Conservatives have got 119 plus 33 block. So that gives them only 152. So they would need the Greens, who have 2 seats, and you know the Greens are going to vote with the remaining Liberals, and the Independents. And I think they'd all vote with the Liberals as well. So that would wind up giving the Liberals 160 to 152. And the confidence vote fails again. However, that's going on the number 24. That's going on the number 24. And we don't know that number to be absolutely absolute. We don't know that. That's, like I said earlier, that's just a number the left-wing corporate media has decided to throw out there. And then, of course, we can't really be sure the NDP is going to vote with what's left of the Liberal Party because Jagmeet Singh's not happy at all.
Talk about where you are now in that process, the negotiation, and when you think we're going to see that bill. And if we don't see it by the 1st of March, are you prepared to extend it again, the deadline?
I had a meeting with the Prime Minister yesterday on this very point, and I made it very clear to the Prime Minister on Monday. I made it very clear to the Prime Minister that we expect legislation and we expect the government to take steps to go beyond that, and we expect that by the 1st of March. And it was a tough meeting. It was clear that
Hold on. Like, is he that clued out? This was today. This is Jagmeet Singh talking to the media today. He's talking about the 1st of March. Does he work in the same building as everybody else? Does he not know what's going on? Do you think Justin's going to go, yeah, Jagmeet, you know what? I'm going to get back to you on that. I've got other things I'm busy with right now.
Made it clear that we're not, this is something we're very serious about. We're not going to extend this any further. We are very serious that pharmacare has to be delivered. We need to see legislation and some additional steps. And I made that very clear to the Prime Minister. I put him on notice that we expect that by March 1st. If not, there will be repercussions.
Okay, repercussions. That's great. Thank you, Jagmeet. Repercussions. So now we've got kind of a deadline, March, from the NDP. But I think that maybe, let's give Jagmeet a little bit of credit here for having some kind of a brain. He was saying today, he wanted to get on in the action to say, this gives us the opportunity to vote non-confidence against the Liberals. If Trudeau doesn't prorogue Parliament tomorrow, and I have a very strong feeling he is going to do just that. So what happens during proroguement? Well, we told you yesterday exactly what happens. But it also buys time for the Liberals to come up with at least an interim leader if Trudeau wants to resign. I mean, they're all saying today, all these left-wing corporate media stooges, all the panelists, you know, those people who don't make any sense and have absolutely no basis for saying anything they're saying. Just some guy from a university, some academic who's an expert in political science. Yeah, here's what I think. Dude, what you think doesn't matter any more than what I think. So what are you doing on the left wing? Anyway. Trudeau prorogues and decides he wants to quit right away. They're saying he should stay on until they choose a new leader. I don't think that's necessary. You can have an interim leader. So it gives the Liberals time to get an interim leader, probably Chrystia Freeland. And it also gives them time for people to start organizing leadership campaigns for a leadership convention maybe next spring, so they can have a new leader in place for an election next fall. That may be what they're planning. So who's in the running? Well, we found out on Monday that Christy Clark, the former Liberal Premier of British Columbia, has decided she wants to throw her hat in the ring. She's been out of politics for a while now, and maybe she's feeling the hunger again. And she's secretly been taking French lessons in Quebec for the past year. So maybe she's had her eye on this job for a little longer than we thought. Anyway, has anybody thought to maybe go and ask if Christy Clark or any of these other competitors or possible candidates for the Liberal leader job have any ties to the World Economic Forum? Well, let's just go ahead and look. Ooh, look, there's Christy Clark. She is on the website of the World Economic Forum. Yeah, that's not the Wayback Machine. You guys know how I feel about that thing. This is still on the website. Look at that. weforum.org/people/Christy-Clark. It's still there. Christy Clark looks like she has some kind of tie to the World Economic Forum. It doesn't say here she was a young global leader. Let's scroll down and see. No, nothing like that. Christy is about 58, so she would have been or 59. She would have been on the cutting edge of the very first class of the young global leaders in 92 or 93, I think. Then there's Melanie Joly. Right now, she's the Minister of Foreign Relations. She's so bad. Anyway, let's see. Does she have any ties to the World Economic Forum? Melanie Joly. We've heard that she is planning a run for the leadership of the party. Look here at the very bottom. Minister Joly holds an honors Bachelor of Law from the Université de Montréal and a Magister Jury in European and Comparative Law, blah, 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 blah. She was named a young global leader by the World Economic Forum. Well, that's interesting. The other one is Jean-Yves Duclos, who is a minister in cabinet right now for Trudeau. And he was there at the signing of the Agile Nations Agreement through the World Economic Forum last year. And he said, Canada's endorsement of the Agile Nations Agreement demonstrates our commitment to creating a regulatory environment where innovation can flourish and blah, blah, blah. Jean-Yves Duclos, president of the Treasury Board of Canada. Canada is ready to play its part in sharing ideas and best practices on agile regulation. So there are three of the candidates, and we already know about Chrystia Freeland and, of course, Carbon Tax Carney. So there you go, my friends. There you go. All of them are owned by the World Economic Forum. We penetrate the cabinets. Looks like, according to the Canadian press, a majority of Canadians want to preserve the CBC and continue funding it. A national survey about the role of a public broadcaster in today's media climate suggests that a majority of Canadians want to preserve CBC/Radio Canada. The poll by McGill University Center for Media, Technology and Democracy found that 78% of respondents want to see the public broadcaster continue to operate. 57% would either increase or maintain their funding. But Respondents did have some concerns. When asked whether they agreed or disagreed with prepared statements covering common criticisms, about a third of agreed CBC shouldn't have ads, while 31% agreed with the criticism of biased reporting and 27% critiqued that it was too woke. Interesting that it's too woke. And the reason that I would say something like that, let's see if I have that video here. Do I have that video? Sadly, I don't have that video up, but there, if you go to the CBC website, what you're going to find, maybe I've got it here. No. There is the making of a drag queen. How do they put a drag show together? It's like a 3-minute piece. I could have sworn, you know what? I'm going to see if I can bring it up here because I want you guys to see this. Bear with me. I'm sorry. There it is. All right. Let's show you this piece. This is, yeah. So this is the kind of stuff that your tax dollars are funding on the CBC.
At Montreal's My, this drag show has the usual music, singing, comedy, and gender-bending fun. But Drag-cessible has an added element, accessibility.
Gender-bending fun on our national broadcast.
For organizers and drag queens, Selma and Uma God, it's not just about making the show inclusive for the patrons, but for the artists as well.
So obviously, Montreal has a lot of old buildings, and trying to make that work is not always easy. So we did the best we could with what we had.
In a couple of cases, it meant access for performers in the show with disabilities.
So the first thing that we did to make sure that our artist with cerebral palsy is his...
Okay. So I can't take it much longer. I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of insight into the type of programming our public broadcaster is producing, spending millions of dollars to produce with our money. That is the kind of healthy family content that you can sit down and watch on a Sunday night on the CBC. Got a couple of more stories to cover before we get to America. I think there's only this one left here. More apologies. Parks Canada Colonialism Apology Tour to begin in Jasper. Colonialism Apology Tour. Our government and our institutions have been taken over by diversity, equity, inclusion, wokeness, intersectionality, neo-Marxism. We have to apologize for something that maybe our ancestors did 110 years ago. Maybe. Liberal government is rolling out a formal Indigenous apology tour at national parks across the country, beginning with the wildfire-ravaged Jasper National Park, as part of its nationwide initiative to redress what the Liberals call Parks Canada's history of colonial policies. This is Black Lives Matter garbage. This is critical race theory garbage. And this is being funded by us. This needs to stop. It's outrageous. A total of 27 national parks have been flagged for formal place-based apologies. Jasper National Park was supposed to be the first heritage site to issue such an apology, coinciding with the opening of the new Jasper Indigenous exhibit, an outdoor interpretive display near the Jasper Info Center September 7th and 8th. However, the exhibit's grand opening event was delayed by the fire, which ravaged 30% of the town, causing $880 million in insurance damage and burning an estimated 32,722 hectares of land. Although the exhibit was untouched by the fire, Parks Canada had shut down the site until further notice. I don't know where they're going next. I'm sure you can find the schedule of the Colonial Apology Tour on the Parks Canada website. Do we have an October surprise for Donald Trump? Apparently we do. We're going to get to that in just a second. But first, Kamala Harris did an interview on NBC last night and dodged a question so hard, I think she may have pulled a muscle.
Beliefs, what you believe in. Let me ask you this question, very broadly speaking here.
Sure.
Do you believe that transgender Americans should have access to gender-affirming care in this country?
I believe we should follow the law. I mean, I think you're probably pointing to the fact that Donald Trump's campaign has spent tens of millions of dollars.
They're trying to define you on this.
Yes,
I'm asking you to define yourself, though. Just broadly speaking, what is your value? Do you believe they should have that access?
I believe that people, as the law states, even on this issue about federal law, that is a decision that doctors will make in terms of what is medically necessary. I'm not going to put myself in the position of a doctor, but let's also understand that Donald Trump is running tens of millions of dollars in ads to talk about two cases, to distract from the fact that his policy and plan is also to take away the Affordable Care Act, which provides health care for tens of millions of people in our country. That his plan is to undo the $35 a month cap on insulin that it impacts millions of seniors in our country. That his plan is to do away with the $2,000 cap on prescription medication, the annual cap. That his plan is to get rid of the Department of Education, which would mean getting rid of Head Start. That his plan is to give tax cuts to billionaires and big corporations and on the backs of middle-class working people. So let's not get distracted by the issues that, to your point from the introductory point you raised,
Kamala?
People want to know that their president has a plan
Kamala,
to make their life better.
that's not what we asked you.
And that includes addressing, bringing down the cost of living. It includes dealing with prescription medication costs. It includes addressing the
Kamala,
housing crisis and
that's-
affordable housing crisis in our country.
I
It
asked
includes
you-
supporting our small businesses, investing in American
I asked
industries,
you
and
about
strengthening our economy.
I will move on, but I don't know that I heard a clear answer from you on the issue of gender-affirming care. It sounds like what you're saying is there should be something between trans Americans.
Now, I wonder why this NBC interviewer is so head up on this and staying on this. Is it because she has a personal stake? Maybe she's got a trans daughter or son and she wants that answer for herself? Or is it just because that Harris completely dodged answering that question? So she tries again. And this is what
And
happens.
their doctors. It feels like that's a long way from "we see you and we love you," which was your message to trans Americans in May. What do you want the LGBTQ plus community to know as they're looking for a full-throated backing from you for trans Americans?
I believe that all people should be treated with dignity and respect. Period.
But
and should not be vilified for who they are. And should not be bullied for who they are. And that is a true statement for me my entire career. And that has not changed.
No answer. She had no answer. Every time, and I was checking this out today, there's actually a few pretty good amateur pollsters available on Rumble and on YouTube. So I was checking some of them out, and they were saying today that every time she does a major television event, an interview or something on CBS or NBC or wherever, her polling goes down. It's amazing to me that the Democrats, Obama and Pelosi and all of those people who are controlling her and her campaign, haven't said, just shut her up. We'll do the talking. This is Kamala Harris yesterday comparing Donald Trump to
Listen. So yesterday we learned that Donald Trump's former chief of staff, John Kelly, a retired four-star general, confirmed that while Donald Trump was president, he said he wanted generals like Adolf Hitler had. Donald Trump said that because he does not want a military that is loyal to the United States Constitution. He wants a military that is loyal to him. He wants a military who will be loyal to him personally, one that will obey his orders even when he tells them to break the law or abandon their oath to the Constitution of the United States. In just the past week, Donald Trump has repeatedly called his fellow Americans the enemy from within, and even said that he would use the United States military.
No, Kamala, he's talking about you. He's talking about you and all of those alphabet agencies that you and your buddy Joe and Barack all weaponized against him and dragged him into nonsensical court cases and are still trying to do. You know what's interesting? If I were Kamala right now, because Trump is killing in the polls. I mean, all the swing states, apparently he's even going to take the national vote, like the overall vote. And he's going to win in a landslide with over 300 electoral votes in their electoral college system. If I'm them right now, the Democrats, I'm not, amping up my rhetoric. I'm slowing it down. Trump has said all along, look, I don't want to weaponize any departments to go after anybody. He said that. I've seen him say that at least 3 or 4 times, even though the Democrats are very good at taking sound bites out of context and using them against him. But if they keep talking the way they're talking, he might change his mind on that. Wouldn't you think? Like, after everything that the man has been through, and I'm not saying he's a saint, don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting here saying that Donald Trump is the answer, Donald Trump's the be all and end all, and all of that stuff. What I'm saying is he's infinitely better than her. This is the two cabals at war, like I talked about before. The one cabal represented by Donald Trump is the one that we've known forever, all of our lives. But this new cabal, the one that wants to take control and bring in this totalitarian communist nightmare, that's Kamala. Let's let her finish here.
To go after American citizens. And let's be clear about who he considers to be the enemy from within. Anyone who refuses to bend a knee or dares to criticize him would qualify, in his mind, as the enemy within, like judges, like journalists, like nonpartisan election officials. It is deeply troubling and incredibly dangerous that Donald Trump would invoke Adolf Hitler, the man who is responsible for the deaths of 6 million Jews and hundreds of thousands of Americans. All of this is further evidence for the American people of who Donald Trump really is. This is a window into who Donald Trump really is, from the people who know him best, from the people who worked with him side by side in the Oval Office.
The ones that he fired, Kamala, those are the ones you're talking about. The ones he had tossed out of the party. Okay, you're right. I'm not going to, no more Kamala Harris. Now, interestingly, we talk a lot about political shift and what's happened to these political parties, especially in the last, I'm going to say 10 years. How the Liberal Party is no longer a party of liberals. They've still got that branding, though. They've still got that name. They're called the Liberal Party. They've still got that same logo they've always had, the red L or the white L on the red background with the white maple leaf. So they look like they're the same party that you've always known and you've always voted for and your dad voted for and your grandpa voted for. But that's not the case. Justin Trudeau has moved them so far left as to become Marxists. Well, the same thing has happened with the Democratic Party in the United States. And it's amazing to me that Bill Clinton, former Democratic president down there, as you know, is campaigning on Kamala Harris's behalf when he had this to say at a joint session of Congress in 1996.
Only in the states most heavily affected, but in every place in this country are rightly disturbed by the large numbers of illegal aliens entering our country. The jobs they hold might otherwise be held by citizens or legal immigrants. The public service they use impose burdens on our taxpayers. That's why our administration has moved aggressively to secure our borders more, by hiring a record number of new border guards, by deporting twice as many criminal aliens as ever before, by cracking down on illegal hiring, by barring welfare benefits to illegal aliens. In the budget I will present to you, we will try to do more to speed the deportation of illegal aliens who are arrested for crimes, to better identify illegal aliens in the workplace, as recommended by the commission headed by former Congresswoman Barbara Jordan.
Isn't that interesting? They wanted secure borders back in the mid-1990s, but now they want them wide open, baby. I'm going to say the great replacement theory might actually be happening, and it's the Democrats who are doing it. You could take might out of that last sentence that I uttered. What is Donald Trump's October surprise? Because they levied one today against him. It was all over social media. We're going to get to that in the extension for all access members on shadowdavis.com in just a couple of minutes. Also, we have the story of a trans golfer, a man who became a woman and then tried to break into the LPGA tour, but has come up, she has decided, maybe I'm not going to do that. This is actually kind of an uplifting story. We're going to get to that in the extension. And also, Pepe Orsini, the Grey Pope in the hidden hand of global power, chief of the Rothschilds, chief of the Rockefellers, head of the Vatican, and chief of the complete black nobility. What is that, Shadow? We're going to get to that in the extension on shadowdavis.com. I'll see you there in a couple of minutes, you all access people. For the rest of you, I'll catch you tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Central for another Shadow at Night live stream. I love you all. I appreciate you all. And I will see you soon. Bye for now.